Not yet. Well, good evening, everyone. So we're here live in the Inspiring Wellness Group, and I have a surprise guest visitor tonight. This is Lisa, and Lisa Behringer is my best friend from California, and she's the lady that introduced me to doTERRA.
That's right.
So if it weren't for her, none of us would be here learning about On Guard tonight. So I wanted to talk about On Guard tonight because if you have kids that are going into school next month, which believe it or not, I mean, most kids are starting school in 3 weeks. And so what I'm hoping I can do is give you some information on Guard and all the cool stuff that, you can get On Guard in, all that stuff there. Then you can figure out what you need to order next month and be ready for back to school season. Or if you're a homeschool family, getting ready to go back into you guys are going to get back into karate and gymnastics and all those places where all the kids are and all the germs are. And I don't know about you guys, but last year was a doozy for our family. Me and Samuel and my kids randomly were sick from September all the way till April. It was horrible. So this year, I want to head it off the pass. I am going to be incredibly proactive with my family's health and wellness and keeping us healthy. So Lisa, do you guys worry about that in California?
We do.
You got germs out there?
We do have germs.
Okay,
Yes.
So germs are in Kansas and they're in California. So I'm assuming they're everywhere in between and everywhere else in the United States. So I'm sure you guys will want to know all this stuff. So what is On Guard? It is a blend of essential oils, and it has wild orange, it has clove, it has cinnamon, it has eucalyptus, and it has rosemary in it. So really quickly, I want to tell you what are in those oils, and I have my little trusty Modern Essentials book here. So orange is in my top 5, okay? So you're already getting orange every single day, and it's really good for you, and why? It's antibacterial, it's antifungal, it's antidepressant, yeah, totally uplifting, and antiseptic. It's a powerful disinfectant and very effective against colds and flus. So if you're already using it every day, but then you do get sick, it's already in the On Guard, and so it's gonna help you. And then it's got clove in it, which is everything that orange is, but it's also antiviral and antiparasitic. It is an immune stimulant. So your immune system, it wakes it up, which is really important because if our immune system is exposed to something, like you go in the grocery store and your baby puts his mouth all over the handle, we want to activate that immune system, right?
Yes.
Okay. And then it's also really good at it can influence healing as well as creating a feeling of protection and courage, which that's probably why it stimulates the immune system. It makes the immune system feel courageous, and maybe it'll fight more battles. I don't know. But anyway, so that's really cool about that. And then cinnamon. So cinnamon is a powerhouse oil, and I actually rarely use this oil alone because it is in the On Guard and it is so powerful. But because it's a blend in On Guard, that kind of makes it a little bit more user-friendly for everyone in the entire family, because I would not want to use cinnamon straight on my kids. So, sorry, message just popped down and it distracted us. Okay, so, let's see. These are some really cool things about cinnamon. And I actually wasn't intending to just read from the book, but it's just so interesting. I don't want you to miss out. So it is a purifier. There's a lot of really cool historical uses for cinnamon, and you can definitely find those if you want to do some research for yourself online. Now, I will warn you, there's a lot of crazy things on Google, so you have to sift through it all, but there's some good stuff in there. It's a powerful oxygenator. It enhances the action and the activity of other oils. So doTERRA was really brilliant by adding cinnamon to this just for that one reason. It is everything that clove is, including antibacterial, anti-infectious, anti-inflammatory, antimicrobial, and the list just goes on and on and on.
Anti-bad people.
Anti-bad people. Which it's funny that she brings that up because On Guard is a great oil to diffuse and wear when you just feel like you need a little personal bubble.
Exactly.
Not that it smells bad, but it just does something emotionally and maybe energetically to kind of just give you a bigger bubble.
Exactly.
And then eucalyptus, it has a very antiviral effect on the respiratory system, especially in most illnesses during the fall and the winter typically go to the respiratory system, so that eucalyptus just helps out there. And then rosemary helps to energize, in general. It's just a very energizing, it's a vasodilator oil, so it's like peppermint, but not as cold or as stimulating. So it's a little extra help there. So that is what On Guard is good for. A couple of other things that it lists is it's really good for oral health. So not only our immune system, but oral health, and we have so much bacteria in our mouth. I've heard studies that are along the lines of, where in your body do you have the most bacteria? And it's the mouth for sure, guys.
Yeah.
So, you know, your kids are putting their hands in their mouths and then they're touching things and it's, ugh. Okay. So, what is your favorite thing about On Guard?
That is what I was just going to share.
Yeah.
Was I have an oral testimony. Every once in a while when I stress, I get fever blisters. That's where it lands in me. And when they start to itch and tingle, I can feel when one is coming. I run for my On Guard and I put a drop on probably every 15 minutes for an hour and a half to 2 hours, and the fever blister goes away. It just completely retreats, and I don't end up with that huge, I don't know if any of you get them, but they become mountainous.
Stress, totally stress. And they are so gross too.
Yes,
and
they are.
I remember when I was in high school, I got them all the time and I was so self-conscious of them.
Yes.
Now as an adult, you know, we don't even care, but you don't want one.
No, I care. She doesn't care.
Okay. But actually it's funny she brought that up because I get one of those after every single baby. And so this time when I had Samuel about a year ago, I was already ready and I was already like, I am going to use my oils. I'm not going to get this. And so by then, doTERRA had came out with the On Guard Touch, which is the touch blends that have they're already pre-diluted. This is an old applicator, so the new ones are actually metal or stainless steel.
Very nice.
And so what I was doing is typically I was using this kind of like a chapstick. So it has the coconut oil in it, so it was very helpful just with dry lips. And you know, after you have a baby, you're like breathing a lot, so your lips were really dry. So this was really helpful, and I did not get a cold sore this time.
That is amazing.
So I broke my tradition, and I created new ones.
Yeah.
Good, happy traditions.
Yes.
So, if you want to use On Guard on your skin topically, it is a little spicy, so keep that in mind. A little Jennifer tip here, if you're finding that this actually is uncomfortable on the skin and you don't have trouble with things normally, it might be that you're dehydrated. And it's really common when your immune system is low or maybe it's really sluggish or fatigued. It's really common for you to be more dehydrated because your body uses water very differently then. So make sure if you put this on your skin and your skin gets red, or it starts to itch, then make sure that you add some coconut oil to that. Drink plenty of water because your immune system has to have water, and well, your whole body needs water for it to work. We talked about that 2 weeks ago when I talked about the top 5 oils, how important water was. But you can use it in the Touch blend and it's just as effective, I promise. But the cool thing about this is it holds it in the dermal layer a little bit longer, so that it protects your skin from, you know, outside invaders that would get on your skin, like people sneezing on you, right?
It also diffuses better into the skin when you use a carrier oil.
Yeah, and so this was pre-diluted by doctors and, you know, the people that knew what they were doing. It wasn't just by, you know, mom using a little, like, thing that you know, what's that thing, that dilution calculator that you can find online?
Like 3 to 1. Or,
It was formulated specifically to be incredibly effective for the oils that are actually in it. So it's not diluted the same as lavender, not the same as peppermint. It's diluted just for On Guard for the purpose of supporting your immune system.
That's right.
So somebody really liked that. Got a lot of hearts there.
I think that was Carrie. Thank you, Carrie. We feel so loved, sweetheart. Thank you.
Okay, so another tip that I have, and this is an item I have to have on hand, so you definitely want to add this to your shopping cart if you don't have this. This is the On Guard Plus Gel Clamps. Hi, Colleen. She found us.
Yes. Hey, Colleen.
So, how often do you take these?
I try, especially when I'm traveling, to take them daily because they are great. They do the same thing the oil does. They're immune boosting. And when you're in the airplane and places where people are coughing and sneezing, coughs and sneezels spread diseases.
There you go. And there's your easels. Your easels. Okay, so she does that, just as a proactive thing. I do the same thing. When it starts to be that time of year where you see on Facebook everyone talking about, all kinds of like sinus infections and all that yucky stuff, I start taking this. And I actually take 3 a day. Do you take that many?
I do not.
Okay, that's a lot.
I do not. Yeah.
So it's totally up to you. There's a spectrum there. I don't want to do more than that. But if you do feel like you're actually coming down with something, which we all have our telltale sign. For me, it's this dry, scratchy throat. And I feel this feeling of dread. And when you're getting sick, you got to try really hard not to say, oh, I'm getting sick. Or I can't get sick. Well, it does something in your mind and you get sick. So just do this. That'll change that for you. So what I do is I actually take one every hour until I go to bed. And usually I'm feeling that way around 6 o'clock in the evening. So I'm getting maybe 3 or 4 into my system. And I wake up in the morning and I feel just fine. Yeah. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I wake up and I still feel like, I'm still coming down with something. And I just continue that. Maybe 1 every 2-3 hours. What's really cool about essential oils is that our body uses them really quickly. They're usually out of our system between 30 minutes to 90 minutes. And so you got to keep introducing them. It's just like water and eating food. We don't just drink water 1 time a day. We don't just eat food 1 time a day. So we're not going to just use our oils 1 time a day. It's just the same. So just get those oils out and use them and take your On Guard Plus. This is great for teachers.
Yes.
It's great for nurses and doctors who are constantly around stuff and in high stress environments. Which brings me to my next point. Stress is like the #1 thing that lowers your immune system.
Absolutely.
So if you're in a stressful situation, definitely be taking your On Guard. So, anything else you want to add?
I did want to add, those of you, when Jennifer said that she starts to feel a scratchy throat, if you will get this immediately, don't delay. Don't wait for it to evolve into something. Sorry, that was the word that came to mind. But
we're a safe group.
Yes.
We're private, secret. We can talk freely here.
Yes, but don't wait. If the minute you feel something like that, come on, be proactive, because I have seen both my husband, my daughter, and myself have nipped viruses in the bud if we got on it right away and didn't delay. If we didn't, and something set in 24 hours, for example, it's not that On Guard didn't help. It just didn't help as quickly.
Exactly. And so I always take it, so I don't really have like a basis to say this really on, but I can tell you before using it, even using other brands of essential oils, my illnesses would get worse and longer. And really the biggest thing that it's helped me with is I typically can have a cold for like 3 days, but then I have the side effects or the lasting of the cold, like the thick congestion and the coughing will last for like 3 weeks. So I don't have that anymore. Typically what happens is I have 1 day of a sore throat and then 1 day of a really bad congestion, and then the next day the congestion dries up and the 4th day I'm fine.
Yay.
And that's usually how it works. So usually I don't have to cancel classes because nobody wants to hear Jennifer with a frog in her throat, which you have. It settles back there.
She sounds sexy.
So that brings me to, what's that Friends episode with Phoebe? And she tries to get a cold because it makes her sound good when she sings. So that brings me to the On Guard drops. Now, there's another thing I like that we're not talking about tonight, and that's the Breathe drops, and that's another tool in my tool bag. But tonight we're going to talk about On Guard drops. These are a little strong for me. Are these strong for you?
They are strong.
I can suck on one, and then I need to take it out of my mouth. So you can grab these, have these like in your purse, in your diaper bag, in your car. I actually have this in my bag that stays in my car that's got my diapers and the baby's changes of clothes and stuff. So no matter where I'm at, if I start to feel like I'm not so sure about myself, then I can go grab these right away.
Give me those drops for a second. Okay, what I'd like to say about these, where Jennifer said they were strong, is with the clove and cinnamon, this is the soother on the pain in your throat. Versus Breathe is more menthol, eucalyptus kind of feeling.
Breathe helps with dry, scratchy.
Yes.
This helps with the inflammation and the sore and the pain.
Yes, so be sure to use them.
Yes. Okay, so another preventative thing that you can use is the On Guard sanitizing spray. I wanted to jump out of my seat when doTERRA came out with this because I've been making my own, and it had the oil with the coconut oil, and so it was greasy. And this isn't greasy. It dries just like a hand sanitizer, you know, when you put on your hand and it's kind of slimy, and then it dries. So this is the same, only it's got On Guard in it, so it smells good. And it's so funny. So we have this restaurant here in Kansas City called Fritz. And it's a train place that's got tons of kids, and they're gross children. Sorry, my kids can be gross too. But, you know, you're somewhere where there's even more of them, and so the germs, it's like you can see them in the air. But they do this thing where in order to order your food, you pick up a phone and you call it in, and it's the grossest thing ever. And I'm always like this. And then now that I got this, I use it. But the coolest thing was, after I got back and I got this for the first time when they first came out with it, we went to Fritz's like maybe a month later, and I picked up the phone, and guess what it smelled like? It smelled like this! I was so excited.
Meaning they used it, or
somebody before me had this, and they sprayed it, and I knew. I was like,
yeah,
I need to know who these people are because they are my heroes. Because the funny thing is, I forgot it.
So, and if I might add, for those of you who don't know, the antibacterial, especially Purell, has something called a hormone disruptor in it. The chemical in there will actually disrupt hormones. Please use On Guard as an antibacterial. Even if you at this time just want to do DIY, use this instead of the over-the-counter stuff. Keep yourself and your children safe.
Right, and so with a lot of questions I get is, what about when my kids are at school? Because the schools have the sanitizer everywhere, and they want the kids to use it all the time, especially when they have a lot of kids calling out for sick. So this last year was the first year that we had our kids actually in school.
That's right.
And that actually came up, and there was an interesting thing that happened in my son, who's 12. We've been using oils for 10 years. He's never used that Purell hand sanitizer in his life. I even asked him, have you ever used that? Like, just at a place maybe that had it, and he said no. And he actually had to go to the nurse's office because the first time he used it at school, he had broken out in hives.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, the last time he broke out in hives was when I used Lysol to clean my bathroom when he was a baby, and I actually stopped using chemical cleaners after that. So I gave him some of this to put in his backpack, and I asked him to use this instead, and his teacher didn't have a problem with it. So you can definitely send this to school with your kids. It's a nice slim design, so it fits in your pocket really well. So definitely take that. Is there anything you want to add to that?
Nope.
Okay.
I think you got it covered.
So let's talk about oral health, because we mentioned it earlier. We have our On Guard toothpaste.
Yes, we do.
Do you have a testimony about this? What's your testimony?
Honestly, it really does work at whitening. I love On Guard. The other thing that I love about On Guard is, again, as we become more educated in natural solutions, we know that fluoride is not good for you. And all my life, I had taken fluoride and used fluoride, and now with the On Guard toothpaste, it does a brilliant job of keeping our teeth clean, and I don't have to worry about fluoride anymore.
Yeah. And my only testimony is I have a lot of oral issues because of a genetic condition that I was born with. So I have a lot of dental work in my mouth. Well, with dental work comes what they call a pore margin, which is the point where your tooth connects to your gums. Well, when you have crowns, there's a margin that's really big that allows more bacteria to get into it. So if you have crowns, you have dentures, you have anything like that, you're going to have more bacteria in your mouth. More bacteria means, mouth bad breath. It also means that more food collect in those areas, which a little tip is get a water pick if you have that issue.
Yeah, that's good.
But then the On Guard toothpaste lets me know that I really feel like my mouth is really clean. But one of the things that my dentist noticed was I had to have some work done, and when I get my teeth cleaned, my gums bleed really bad. Like, he actually has extra gauze out for me.
Wow.
Yeah, but he's my dentist. He's been with me since I was 13, so he's kind of used to it. And I got my teeth cleaned, and this was like 5 years ago. When I first started using the On Guard toothpaste, I think I'd been using it for maybe 3 months, and he actually commented about how he didn't have to use all of his gauze. And I was like,
sweet!
And I was just noticing, actually, it's funny because before that, every time I brushed my teeth, there would always be a lot of bleeding. Sorry if that's TMI. But I was starting to notice not long after that, I didn't have as much blood when I would, be done brushing my teeth.
Testify, sister.
Yeah. And so the other thing I noticed is that when I flossed, I didn't have as much bleeding either. And so that's why I really like the On Guard toothpaste. So I really feel like if you brush your teeth, you should be using that. So definitely you want to add this to your cart and add it every month. My family, we have me, my husband, and we have 3 kids that are using this. And even my 5-year-old uses it. Now, you don't use this on your pets, okay? Not a pet toothpaste. Because it does have something in it that is very toxic to dogs. So you don't want to use it on them. But everybody in my family uses it except for Samuel. Even though he has teeth, we don't brush them with toothpaste. But everyone uses it, and this will last us maybe 6 weeks. Now, I did get more because we have more bathrooms. So we've got one in every bathroom. So I don't need to order maybe restock every couple of months, but it does last quite a bit. So you use less of it, I feel like.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I don't have to fill up my toothbrush.
Since you've used this, have you used a Crest or a Colgate, like if you were visiting and forgot
I have not. I take my On Guard toothpaste with me everywhere I go.
Okay, well, I did get stuck in a situation where I didn't have it.
Uh-oh.
And I've used someone else's toothpaste, their minty toothpaste, and it burned. It made me realize just how much alcohol is in toothpaste. And alcohol kills good bacteria and bad bacteria. Well, the thing is, so I don't know if you know this, but bad bacteria is stronger than good bacteria. So if you don't have good bacteria to keep it in check, it's just going to do this, and then you're not going to have a chance. So we want to not do that.
That's like the antibacterial stuff we were talking about.
Yeah.
It kills good and bad.
Yeah.
And that's why we have superbugs, MRSA.
Right. So and so we have bacteria that sit on our skin naturally, and so that's why I want to talk about the soap. And I love this soap, actually. It's one of my favorites, and we wash our hands with it, and gosh, I even sometimes wash out, when the kids have their water bottles and they don't really need to be washed, in the dishwasher, so I'll just do a squirt of this. It's not like dish soap where it takes forever to rinse out the bubbles. It's just a nice quick rinse, and it's clean and sanitized. So, and it's not going to eat the plastic. So I really like that. But the thing about our skin is we have naturally occurring bacterias on here, and we all have naturally occurring bad bacterias. But because we have good bacteria on our skin, it keeps the other bad bacterias in check. Because we're carriers of all the big, scary guys, but they're not so scary because our good, healthy bacterias are keeping them in check. So when you cut yourself, get a mosquito bite that you scratch too much, if you don't have that good bacteria on your skin, that bad bacteria is going to come out in forms like MRSA and staph and those things that you end up needing a medication for. So that's why we want to be preventative, and we want to be proactive by using our soap that's going to keep our skin clean. I like the On Guard Concentrate Cleaner.
Oh, me too.
I add this just a tiny bit. You only need a capful. You don't need much because this is a little soapier. So I use this. I spray my table. I spray the countertops. I even do my light switches and my doorknobs. And I just spray it on. I don't wipe it off. I just kind of let it dry. And there was a study that came out about how On Guard is shown to not only kill, viruses and bacteria, but also to inhibit the growth of. And so if you keep this on your hands or you spray it on your hands and then you go touch something that's got lots of whatever on it, you're less likely to actually have it proliferate. Did I say that right? Proliferate all over your skin, and then you end up with something that you don't want. Yeah. So I think I covered it all.
So I did want to add, because we talked a lot about how On Guard, etc., kills the bad bacteria. It doesn't harm the good bacteria. I don't know how it understands the science of that, but the studies show.
I did read a fantastic article where someone explained it, but since I'm not a cellular biologist I don't completely understand it. So I'll have to find that. If I ever come across it, I'll definitely share it with you guys. I'll put it right in this thread.
You can Google too. Yeah. It's true. It's out there.
Google doTERRA On Guard research studies, and you'll probably find some really cool stuff. I've heard some really cool stories, like about, high school biology classes trying to grow stuff in Petri dishes, and it wouldn't work because the classroom next to it was diffusing On Guard. Stuff like that. Yep. I've seen some really cool before and after pictures of dental care and the differences of On Guard used there.
It's been amazing.
It's pretty cool. So definitely want to stock up this year for cold and flu season, because it is right around the corner, believe it or not. So hopefully you're ready. And if you're not, go ahead and add a couple of these items to your cart. You don't have to use all of them every day. When I first started, I used like 3 things, but just try to get On Guard on you and in your air, in the diffuser, every single day. And you should find that you'll feel a little bit healthier, hopefully, this time of year as we get a little closer. So if you have any questions about On Guard, this is the place to ask. Just comment below and I'll get a notification and I'll answer your questions. Or if there's anybody here that wants to share a testimony of how On Guard worked for them, feel free to share that as well. So have a great evening, guys. I am off. We're going to go have a girls' night out.
Woo!
And hopefully not get into too much trouble.
Wish you were here.
All right. Have a great night, guys.
Good night.